One of the coolest riffs.
One of the most iconic riffs ever
of
recorded.
all time.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound that complicated, but then you try and play it.
Go ahead and try to play it.
No, I'm not gonna embarrass myself on live TV.
Welcome back to Dead Wax.
Okay, this is very exciting. We have Mason Stoops with us.
This is Mason Stoops, an amazing session guitarist who's played with artists like Jackson Browne, Marcus Mumford, James Taylor, Katy Perry, so many more.
We're gonna listen to one of his favorite bands, Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. Here we go, let's dive right in and take a listen.
We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs.
All right, there's a lot to break down.
There's a lot to talk about here.
The thing that just sticks
The
out to me, the coolest fucking thing about the whole song is we're in this G minor kind of thing the whole time that guitar is there. And then that chorus. And then you're back here, but no.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. And then back to G minor. A
Wild.
6 major?
Yeah.
Install microwave oven, custom kitchen deliveries. We got to move these.
When you go 4, 5, 6 major, and then that extra couple bars.
It sounds like the way that he's using that 6 major is, it sounds like we're about to modulate, but then we don't.
No.
Yeah, we don't. We go right back to that G minor thing.
Yeah.
But the way he also, if you listen to the vocal,
Yeah.
Color TVs.
he literally
Yeah.
raises it up with a swooping kind of thing, which is exactly what it feels like. It's a lifting kind of motion there.
Okay, so that's Sting?
Yeah.
Sting happened to be in the studio with him,
I
you
think
said?
that, correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube, but I think the story goes that Sting was working in a studio when in a different room while they were working on this song, and then some conversations happened. And it's like, why don't you hop in and work on this? So it might have been a little more official than that. It might have been way less more official than that. But either way, it's kind of the glue of the song. I mean, amongst many elements,
Yes.
but having, especially at that time, I mean, we're talking 80s, like having Sting.
The height of Sting.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, I love how Sting's voice contrasts with Knopfler.
Entirely opposites.
Entirely opposite.
Yeah. All right. So the story is Knopfler was, I believe he was at a bar, or he was at a hardware store, and he's overhearing these two guys. There's a TV on in the bar, and they're watching. It's on MTV, and they're watching a band play. They're just like, we could do that. What are we doing? Like, we could put on makeup, and we could play guitars. Like, here we are installing refrigerators and stuff. And he just started writing down their whole conversation. He wrote down everything they said, and then he made a song out of that.
I love that he's talking about refrigerators and microwaves.
And color TVs.
Color TVs.
Yeah.
It's such a cool contrast to, I mean, like, lyrically and in the recording. It's like, what universe are we in? What era are we in?
If there was like a board meeting of songwriters or labels, and they were pitching like, all right, what are some song ideas to really make a lot of money? And so we could write another one about heartbreak. That's good. Okay, maybe heartbreak. Maybe one about being lonely. That's good. And then one guy that was like, let's write one about installing microwaves and televisions and color TVs.
That one.
Yeah,
Let's
it's like,
choose that one.
This get that guy out of here.
Can we talk about this epic introduction for a second?
Yeah, I mean, unnecessary. They didn't need to hit us that hard with an intro like that.
Because it's such a contrast to the mood in the rest of the song. You think we're gonna be in race mode with the whole Blade Runner team.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be Tron and and instead this funky electric guitar thing comes in with bluesy electric guitar.
Yeah.
But for a while we're in Tron land.
Perfect segue into talking about this guitar part. Okay, can we talk about first the tone?
Yeah.
What is happening? I mean, Knopfler is known for iconic Strat tones.
Exactly.
What is happening with this tone?
This song is so important in Knopfler's career because Dire Straits' first album was, I believe, 1979, right? And if you go back to it, it's a Strat. It's the cleanest Strat tone ever recorded. It's and they wrote hits with Strat tones. And then you fast forward to the 80s, and everything is high distortion, high gain guitars. And there's he almost got made fun of for there not being a place for Dire Straits. It's like, we're past that clean guitar stuff now. Like, move out of the way.
Yeah.
And instead of moving out of the way, he writes what became maybe the biggest selling hit of the entire decade with a Les Paul into a fixed wah. It was a Les Paul Jr. into a fixed wah into a Marshall, like the exact opposite of its rig, and still
Wow.
managed to blow everybody else out of the water.
A fixed wah.
Yeah, so just a wah turned on, but just left in one position.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Into a Marshall.
Into a Marshall.
So Les Paul Jr. fixed wah into a Marshall, turned all the way up.
Probably. I mean, how else do you turn them? What else do you do with the Marshall?
That is such a cool sound.
And the other really fascinating thing about it's an incredibly hard riff to play.
Wait, that's this sound with
Yes.
this riff? Can we hear that riff?
One of the coolest riffs
one of the most iconic riffs ever
of all
recorded.
time.
Yeah.
And what's so cool about it is it's got the simple and complicated thing. Like listening to it, it kind of sounds, it doesn't sound that complicated, but then you try and play it.
Go ahead and try to play it.
No, I'm not going to embarrass myself on live TV. You try and play it.
All right, I can show you guys.
Here, you need a different guitar?
Yeah, because I'm tuned down a whole step on this,
Here.
and this is in standard tuning.
Here, play my guitar.
So what's fascinating about this guitar part, it's like this guitar part shouldn't exist. Knopfler took what's essentially a banjo roll. That kind of,
Yeah.
all that kind of fast finger picking stuff he used to do,
Right.
especially when he was learning bluegrass. So if you start from the banjo roll thing,
Most guitar players can't do this. This is you're the perfect guy to have explaining this part because you play almost always with your hands.
Yeah.
Knopfler plays almost always with his hands.
he's why I do. I mean,
And the tone that you get with your hands out of a guitar is some secret sauce that you cannot buy. But also, okay, so check this out. You're doing a backbeat with with this finger.
yep, middle finger's
with your
doing the
middle
rhythm.
finger is doing backbeat, and you're kind of play just your thumb. So your thumb is kind of playing 4 on the floor
Yeah.
against this finger, which is playing backbeats. Okay, now put the rest of the part together.
So if you do it from the song,
Fuck, that is so. Oh,
So
it's so cool.
You're getting all these like harmonics out of like where you're playing
oh
on
man,
the guitar.
when you do the fixed wah thing with the distortion on the amp, it's just harmonics are just leaping out
Yeah.
of the guitar, and you hear it in the recording.
You do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
so cool.
it is a impossible to replicate part that
It really is.
Yeah, it's and just once again, if you had a boardroom meeting of like, how are we going to write a hit song, and someone said, what if we took a banjo roll, slowed it down,
Yeah.
put it through a fixed wah
Yeah.
into a Marshall, you're like,
And sung about refrigerators and microwaves.
yeah, how did that guy get back in the building?
Oh, and let's get Sting on it.
Yeah. That's just, it shouldn't exist. Like this song shouldn't exist. It shouldn't have been as huge of a hit as it was. It was the first, I think, music video that MTV aired that was computer animated. Like there was a lot of firsts
Wow.
with it. It's crazy that this song exists.
Was this your gateway into like what made you obsessed with Knopfler?
Anytime I hear this song, I'm immediately transported back to being in the back seat of like my dad's truck.
He played it for you?
Yeah, I grew up on Dire Straits, Knopfler, and it was from there my dad got into solo Knopfler, which then got me into solo Knopfler, which if you've listened to any of it is truly the opposite of Dire Straits and the opposite of this. It's a very different experience. He's like taking a back seat to all of the flashiness.
Mason, what about Knopfler's playing influenced your playing? Like, what are the elements of Knopfler that we hear in you?
I mean, for me, like I said, if you go back to the solo recordings, or not the solo, his solo work, it was a moment as a young sponge of a guitar player where it was just this extreme contrast to all the other guitar noise that was happening. It was not flashy. We would play one note, he would do this thing. And that's on this song Back to Tupelo that he does this riff, and it was something to where it's easy to go fast. It's because it's like the map is laid out in front of you, but the mystery of making one note sound like it's a whole story is something that like...
Even what you just did, that device, like the finger rake,
Yeah.
is very unusual. Like I feel like normally you hear people do that, like that's kind of like a...
Here, you do it.
It's kind of like, a Mayerism or a Hendrixism or a, you'll hear people do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that like you just did it with your fingers.
Yeah, with the fingers, it's more...
Yeah. I feel like it shaped you in your right hand because
Yeah.
you do crazy shit with your right hand that most people can't do with a pick or with their hands, and just your attention to tone. Like Knopfler is kind of a king of tone.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, it's something that he goes deep on, and it kind of set me on that path early on. And just with more and more guitar teachers and instructors telling me, you really should pick up a pick, the more I just was like, F you, I'm
Screw
gonna.
you
Yeah,
guys.
Knopfler's doesn't use a pick, I won't either, and I'm still kind of a dick about it. So,
Yeah.
what about you? What do you guys have to say about Money for Nothing?
I love how many disparate elements it brings into, like, it's such a cool collage. It's such a cool moment in time. I think if this was recorded 10 years earlier or 10 years later,
Yeah.
it would be unrecognizable. It's just, it's such a cool, record of this moment in time with these, brilliant people in this room.
Totally.
Okay, so what have you been listening to recently? What's been on repeat for you?
This is a bit of a deep cut, but the background singer of my favorite artist is this woman named Julianna Riolino, and she just released a single that I cannot stop playing in my car, and it's called Lone Ranger, and it's just like a classic song.
Jack, what do you got? What you been listening to?
This one Keith Jarrett tune. I love Keith Jarrett, but this song in particular has got to be one of my top. I think it's called Landscape for Future Earth. What's funny is one of my other favorite pianists is Meldau.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear this record, I hear where Meldau came from. And then, of course, Meldau added his own thing, and it's incredible. But I heard Meldau first, and then I heard this, and I was like, suddenly Meldau made sense to me.
Yeah.
It was this wonderful recording where it kind of, I heard one of my heroes.
Isn't music cool like that, where you can trace, you could just keep that going.
Just keeps going.
It just keeps going and going. You can hear little moments that developed into whole personalities and people.
What do you got for us, Rand?
Okay, someone told me this story recently that I'm going to butcher, but Marvin Gaye was getting divorced from his wife, and as part of the settlement or something, he made an album called Here, My Dear, about the whole thing, his marriage and his divorce with his wife. And it's like a lesser-known Marvin Gaye album. There's a song on it called When Did You Stop Loving Me? When Did I Stop Loving You?
I start to realize I can't make it. Pretty birds fly away.
Mason, would you sign Wall Simon the Red Diamond for us?
That's
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, man.
For being here. Thank you guys for watching. Go check out Mark Knopfler. Go check out Mason Stoops, and his Instagram is pretty burning and enjoyable.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Let us know what we should listen to next, and we'll see you next week.